Reporter Crisaldo Lewis is at Langlaagte and joins us now with the latest. Thank you very much for joining us, Crisaldo. What's the latest there on your side?
Well, we're still waiting for a further report from the South African Police Service as well as the City of Johannesburg's Emergency Services Department there, Tabile, waiting to hear what the latest is. But of course, as you pointed out, that the rescue teams have now discovered the body of one of the illegal miners, and they'll be working throughout the night to try and bring that body to the surface. Now, what we do understand at this point, it's going to take up to a minimum of 5 hours at this point to try and get that body to the surface. It might even take up to 12 hours, we understand at this point, from the emergency services. But in addition to that, Tabile, we did report a bit earlier on that comprising that rescue team, of course, was a total of 14 people. It was the 10 rescue workers as well as 4 illegal miners who were accompanying those rescue workers to try and traverse this very difficult terrain to try and locate the remainder of the illegal miners that are trapped underground. But in addition to that, now, just a few minutes ago, another 4 illegal miners is going to join that group of rescue workers as well as the illegal miners who form part of that rescue team, bringing to 18 the number of rescuers who are now underground to try and retrieve the body of that illegal miner, as well as to try and locate the remainder of the illegal miners who have been trapped underground. But certainly a very difficult evening here, Tabile, I must say. The family members of those who remain underground are still camped outside here waiting for any news at this point. And I guess, you know, the resurfacing or the surfacing of one of those illegal miners who's now in a critical condition at the Helen Joseph Hospital, that certainly does give them a bit of hope that perhaps in the next couple of hours we are going to see some of those illegal miners brought to the surface, hopefully alive, they say. But in addition to that, Tabile, the residents around this community, in the Rivoli community here in the south of Johannesburg, are amongst the group of people who've been very concerned about the acts of illegal mining in this particular area. They've gone as far as written letters to the Department of Mineral Resources saying that their children are not safe in this area. They are among the concerned residents who have been camped out here since the early hours of this morning, hoping that someone will listen to their pleas. They're complaining about some of the holes that have been left open here. You would remember, of course, that this is a national heritage site. So when we did speak to the Mineral Resources Minister, Mosebenzi Zwane, a bit earlier on, he said that they were going to try and see if those holes cannot be minimized. But certainly those are discussions that will be had in the next couple of days to try and ensure that this incident that took place here does not happen again. Let's chat to some of those concerned residents from the Rivoli community. Randall Alexander, thank you very much for your time this evening. You've been camped out here since the early hours of this morning together with other members of the concerned Rivoli community. What are some of the major issues that you're having problems with regard to the illegal activity that's been going on here over the past couple of years?
Well, this has been ongoing for the last 3 years. We had a meeting with CRG on the 1st of June this year, as well as City Parks, where we came out to the site, and Sebo Mshlongo from City Parks was actually shocked to know that these shafts are still open. CRG then offered that they would, John Ramabella to be specific from CRG, offered that they can close these shafts here, and to date nothing has happened. We've been warning as a community, as a forum, that these things are going to happen, and it fell on deaf ears. Now we're sitting with a travesty whereby miners are trapped underneath these shafts. The community as a whole are facing health issues such as asthma, breathing problems. In August, the winds was terrible. The old people, eczema and so forth. It's a major problem. We've raised these concerns and nobody's listening to us.
What are your hopes going forward? Because the minister was here a bit early on. You had written letters to the Department of Mineral Resources and a number of other stakeholders to try and get the situation sorted out.
We had a meeting also not so long ago with Eddie Maku, who's MP of Parliament, and we've raised these concerns so they are aware. We're hoping that after this travesty that the operation that CRG is currently doing gets closed, whereby the open pit that they've got is closed, and we're hoping as well that City Parks can come to the party and also assist us with the actual closing of the pit here at George Harrison Park, because at the end of the day we mustn't forget that George Harrison Park is right next to a school which is TCS Terhazen, and our kids are attending these schools, and everybody seems to look past that fact, and we as residents are concerned for the safekeeping of our kids.
All right, I think I'm going to leave it there at the moment. There, thank you very much. There are concerned residents in this community there, Tabile, just among the group of people who've really gathered here this evening, hoping, for some of their concerns to be addressed and to see really what does unfold here overnight as these rescue teams continue to try and locate, to search for these illegal miners that have been trapped there, and of course to try and retrieve the body of the illegal miner which has now been found. We understand that the body has now been taken away from the area where there had been carbon monoxide and has been taken to an area where some of the miners as well are able to breathe much better. But of course you'd recall that had been one of the major stumbling blocks relating to this operation, where we saw the suspension of it yesterday was due to the smoke detection underground. But the good news now is that these miners have really managed to move far beyond than they'd ever been before to try and search in the different directions where these illegal miners can be found. And the assistance of the illegal miners who have now gone inside this shaft here behind me will really come in handy, because they're able to traverse this very difficult terrain. They've been inside here before. So essentially what you have here is rescuers from different sectors as well as illegal miners who are really holding hands to try and ensure that at the end of the day there is somewhat a positive outcome for the many of the families who continue to camp out here this evening. Many of them, as I reported earlier, are sitting with their blankets. They're concerned. You can see a glimmer of hope. They're not really wanting to speak to the media at this point. They're extremely exhausted, but they're determined to continue camping out here the entire evening for as long as it takes, they say. What they say they want is closure. And the police as well are going to continue monitoring the situation here as well. But in terms of the exact number of how many people remain underground, that's still no clearer at this point, hours later, as those who voluntarily came to the surface a bit earlier on this morning, we understand, are not part of the group that had remained trapped. So it's very difficult to gauge at this point exactly how many people these rescue operations are looking for at this stage. It remains to be seen exactly how many people will be brought to the surface, but the hope certainly is that many of them will come to the surface alive.
We'll have to leave it there, Crisalda. Thank you very much for that update. We'll be crossing to you as and when the story develops. That was our reporter Crisalda Lewis joining us from Langlaagte for an update on those trapped miners.